getting results with your picky eater? And the answer is, it really depends on what you're doing. And what you should know is if you are putting the right strategies in place, you should start to see results, improvements pretty quickly. So I want to tell you about a client that I just started working with on the weekend, and that was we're on day 4 today since our first call. And this is a child who he really only eats, he's drinking a lot of milk at the moment. He's 3 years old and he eats quite a lot of food from pouches. And he's quite specific in terms of what brand he'll eat and also the flavors or colors of the packaging that he will accept. So there's this is a more complex case, which is why I took this family as a one-on-one client rather than in my group setting, because it's quite specific. And what we've been working on, like the main focus has been, how do we decrease the milk? Because he's getting so many calories from his milk, it's pushing away his appetite for food, which is something I see a lot of in kiddos, often between 2 and 4 years old. Sometimes it's a little bit older, but it's usually in that like 2 to 4 years old, where they're just consuming a huge amount of milk, which is crowding out their appetite for other foods. And because he's also eating a lot of dairy in the pouches that he's eating, that can really mess around with iron absorption, which generally isn't a problem unless they're having dairy at every meal and snack, or like quite frequently throughout the day, which is why it's really important not to have too much milk. And we can go into too much milk and what that actually looks like. If that's something that's going on with you, you can definitely send me a message about it. I've done some videos where I've talked about how much milk is too much and how many times a day is too much. So this kiddo has snack at school, but his parents have to pick him up at lunchtime because he doesn't eat the food there. And mum sent me a message today that the daycare staff texted her that he ate a whole graham cracker, which to some people doesn't seem like a big deal, but to this family who their child doesn't eat anything at daycare, this is huge. And a graham cracker is not a reliable food. So that is a really, really big deal. And in terms of progress, that's a lot of progress. He's also touched peanut butter, whereas just yesterday he was willing to explore the peanut butter, but only with a spoon. Whereas today he was willing to touch it and explore it with his fingers, which is, again, really big progress. And so when I come on here and, we talk about like, what does progress look like? I'll always say things like, we don't make progress. Like you can't undo years of picky eating in a short time. What you can do though is, when you have the right tools, you will start to see progress and improvements. And improvements and progress doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean, I don't expect this child goes from eating pouches to eating like a full meal in the space of a few weeks. That would be very, very, very unlikely. The type of progress that is likely in the space of a couple of weeks is to decrease his milk by more than half, because at the moment he's consuming way too much milk. And we also want to increase more solid foods outside of the yogurt pouches. We want to increase exposures, positive exposures with different fruits and veggies, and really all foods, because he doesn't have a lot of exposure to other foods. So that's what we're working on. Something else actually that was a really big shift and an improvement for him and a really big step towards progress was that yesterday he tried a yogurt that his mum was eating, which was not from a pouch, and the texture of it was quite different. It was quite thick, whereas the yogurt from a pouch, the ones that he's eating, is quite liquidy and soft, whereas mum's was more of a Greek style yogurt, and it also had like chunks, like jam or jelly chunks in it, which normally he wouldn't touch. So he engaged with it, he tried it, he actually ate some of it, then he mixed it all up, and then today mum gave him some of that yogurt with his breakfast. Initially he took a spoon of it thinking it was the yogurt that he was used to from the pouch. It wasn't that yogurt. He spat it out and said he didn't want it, and then mum used some of our communication tools and techniques, and he did end up coming back to the table and he ate a few more bites of it, even with the chunks in it. And then he kind of said he was finished. He had his cousin was over, and then when mum was about to pack it up, she asked if he wanted any more, and he said yes, and he actually ended up finishing it. So in terms of progress, and we're talking in less than a week since our first call, that is a lot of progress. And no, it's not that he's eating a full meal and that he's not eating pouches anymore, but any parent who's been on this merry-go-round for months or years, in this case years, with a 3-year-old, since he was about a year and a half old. So more than half of his eating life, to be making that kind of progress in such a short time is, I'm not surprised by it, because when you have the right tools, you will expect to see that progress. The thing is, when you don't have those tools and you're spinning your wheels and you keep trying different things and things aren't working, if you're not seeing steps towards progress within a week or two, then you know something is not working quite right. And it's, again, progress is not perfection. It's not that this child, we don't expect him to be never eating a pouch and like drinking no milk. No, we're decreasing the amount of milk. We're also decreasing the amount of pouches, and we're increasing his food exposures so that he's having more positive experiences with actual foods that don't come from a pouch. And that's the kind of progress that you can expect to see. So I know that this is a rather extreme case. Some of my less extreme cases, for example, parents who have worked with me in the small coaching group that I run, which is small and highly supportive, parents in those groups see progress also in the first few weeks. One of the families that I'm working with currently who is in a small group with me, within the first week, they hadn't been eating dinner as a family at the table. They'd been kind of like more so eating it. The kids would eat on the couch, and then like the parents would eat later, and they'd often have the TV on. And within the first week, and it's been 8 weeks now, and they've been consistently doing that, that they are eating together at the table as a family consistently without the TV on. So all of those things is a huge progress and improvement. And again, that comes with the parent showing up and being like, yes, this is what I want to do. These are the results that I want. I want to be eating at the table with my child. So the mom is showing up knowing like that's what we're going to be doing. So having that kind of commitment on your own end is really important too. Thank you so much for sending likes. It's really helpful with the algorithm to tell the algorithm that you like what we're talking about. And if you've got questions and you're just joining, tell me a little bit about what's going on with your picky eater. Thank you so much for sending the likes. It's really helpful. It tells the algorithm that you like the content that I'm sharing and that I'm talking about. So I've got a little bit longer. I've got a client call in about half an hour. I've got to go pick up my groceries between now and then. So I'm going to be live a little bit longer. So if you've got questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I will answer a couple of them. And yeah, but if anything that I've spoken about or like resonates with you, and you've been trying things on your own with your picky eater for a long time and things aren't really improving, please do send me a private message and we can chat in more detail about how I can support you. Mine's 3. Oh, hang on a second. Thank you so much for sending likes. Mine's 3 years old, but he's in food therapy and doing good. I'm more of an issue. That's great that he's doing well in feeding therapy. I was live yesterday and we were talking about how a few parents had said that their children they weren't in food therapy, they were in OT, and they had been in that for like a year or so and hadn't really seen any results, which is definitely not what I would expect. So tell me, what kind of issues do you have then? Because oftentimes picky eating is partially hereditary, and there's a genetic component to it. So that's not to say that, oh, I'm a picky eater, so my child's definitely going to be a picky eater as well. It's not that at all. It's very much about just like if heart disease runs in your family, or like cardiovascular disease, you need to be able to, you can modify your risk factors. And in the same way, there's a lot of steps that you can take as the parent as to what you can do to help your child not go down the path of severe picky eating. And that's not to say that you can 100% prevent it, but you can prevent it from being really, really bad. So yeah, let me know what you were referring to when you say you're more of the issue, because I do a lot of the parents that I've worked with over the years. One of them at the moment, the dad is quite a picky eater, and there's a lot of power in that for the parent who is the more selective eater, because they actually understand on a deeper level what the child is experiencing. I have ARFID and late diagnosed ASD, so food anxiety is not sure where it started, but I relate to him. Okay, so exactly that. The fact that you understand that that food can be, in your case, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, that it can be scary, or that there's anxiety around trying a different food. It could be, sometimes it's anxiety around like, what is it going to taste like or feel like in my mouth? And other times for other people, it can be that they have a fear of trying it and then not liking it. And then they feel like quite ashamed, which is that's not, you can't know for sure that a child feels that way. There are things that may indicate that. So the fact that you as the parent understand what that's like, it gives you a really unique insight. Whereas sometimes, like I said, I work with some parents who are really selective, and that's their superpower to connect with their child. Whereas often it's the other parent who's like, I eat everything, I'm happy to try everything and anything. And that's really great too. That's really important as well, because that sort of fearlessness is really good for the child to see, and confidence. However, the parent who's willing to try anything may not actually really be able to understand what's going on for their child. So if you can relate to that's like, let me know if that's something that you can understand too. Thanks, I'm happy I can use my stuff to help him. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad things are going well in food therapy. And I guess my question to you is, are you, as somebody who's a later in life person who's diagnosed with ASD, and you've also discovered that you have ARFID, are you getting the support that you need to help yourself? Because helping you, as somebody who does work directly with parents, helping the parent have a more positive mindset to food, or working through anxieties and things like that, is really powerful, not only to help you, but also because you're the parent of this child, and they are looking to you for your guidance, for your reactions to things. So let me know. You can always, because I'm going to have to hop off this live in a minute, but you can always send me a private message if you want to chat more. I have actually worked with a few clients that have been adults, and as in like for them, and it's been very insightful on my side of things as well. So feel free to send me a private message. And if you're interested in learning more about the group and the group coaching, there are only 3 spots left in the group, and it's starting this month. So please don't hesitate to send me a private message and ask about that. No, actually the ED clinic up here is intense and I can't fit it into my schedule. I will, thanks. Okay. So if you're interested, I don't run an ED clinic, but I would be able to work with you more in a slower capacity. It wouldn't be that we meet every day or anything like that, because it takes time to make these changes. So you can absolutely let me know. Yes, I skipped the golden gay time comment. I can't tell you, the last time I had one of those, I was probably a child. So yeah, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. And again, if you do want to reach out for some support, I would love to be able to help you with what you're experiencing, to help you, not just for you, but also for helping your child. So thank you so much for sending those. I really appreciate it. And thanks for being live and asking questions. I'll probably be back live tomorrow. So yeah, feel free to shoot me a private message if you want to chat more, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.